Did you know that it rains diamonds on Saturn? How about this? Did you know that the Milky Way will collide with the Andromeda Galaxy in about 4 billion years? Or that you can fit all the planets of the solar system between Earth and the Moon with a little bit of space to spare? Space surrounds Earth in all directions. It begins 100 kilometers above the ground and is virtually endless. Yet it keeps expanding at incredible rates. To give you some perspective, our own galaxy, the Milky Way, has a diameter of about 100,000 light years, which is roughly equivalent to 1 quintillion kilometers. That's one with 18 zeros. On a smaller scale, the closest solar system to ours is called Alpha Centauri. It's about 4.3 light years away, or 41 trillion kilometers. Now that's still really far, and obviously, reaching it won't happen now. But what about closer things? As we all know, the first moon landing was back in 1969. But since then, we've advanced a lot in terms of our capabilities of traveling in space. We've sent multiple rovers to Mars, and that's the first selfie on another planet there. We've built the International Space Station, a large space station orbiting around Earth, where astronauts live and conduct research. We've managed to produce reusable spacecraft, such as the space shuttles by NASA, or the newer Falcon 9 by SpaceX. The farthest thing we've sent out until now is called Voyager 1. Voyager 1 is a space probe that has been floating through space for almost 40 years. After all this time, it's reached about 20 billion kilometers away from the Sun. That's just outside our solar system. But by now you must be wondering why I'm telling you all of this. Well, we all know the renowned physicist Stephen Hawking, right? Mr. Hawking, this year, placed a deadline for humanity to colonize another planet, otherwise we're doomed. Now that deadline is in 100 years. Why? For a good few reasons. Climate change, possible nuclear war, overdue asteroid collisions, the massive population growth, and our natural resources running out are reasons why we need to get to other planets or moons really soon. But what are we looking forward to in space? Why do we want to go? Other than the beautiful views, but it looks better in real life. Well, first thing we're looking forward to is actually happening next year. The first tourist trip on the moon. How's that for a week on vacation? But we're not stopping at the moon anymore. We're going to Mars, babe. And this time, we don't want to play a couple of rounds of golf and come back. We want to stay for good. And that means colonies. Don't worry, we'll be able to establish Martian colonies before the deadline. But to truly be able to turn Mars into our second home, we'll have to terraform its surface. Because right now, it's way too cold, the atmosphere is unbreathable, and the pressure is low enough to boil all the water in your body. Now, scientists still haven't figured out how to terraform Mars' surface. So one of you might be the person to figure out how to do that. And by the way, for those who don't know, terraforming is the act of changing the conditions on the planet's surface to make it suitable for us to live. We're also looking forward for a moon base. Why would we build a moon base, you might ask? Simple. The moon has a weaker gravity, so launching rockets will be easier because they will need less fuel. Less fuel equals lighter rocket and cheaper to produce. Simple math. The moon can also be a great place to launch asteroid mining missions. Now, asteroids have massive amounts of valuable minerals that would run out here on Earth. So it can be a great thing for you guys to invest in when you're older. Maybe we'll abandon rockets altogether. Maybe we'll rely on the experimental idea of solar sails. They use the force from radiation pressure to propel itself through space. Or maybe we'll use newer ideas, such as electric sails or EM drives. But here's the thing. As time passes, and as we look further and further into the future, we'll be able to uncover more technologies, we'll be able to visit more planets, until we reach interstellar space ourselves. And with time, the probability of finding something out there will increase. That something is alien life. Now you guys must be thinking that my head is floating with the stars at this point, but I'm 100% sure that aliens do indeed exist. Why? Well, first of all, life doesn't actually need a specific set of conditions. Even here on Earth, you can find life from the extreme colds of the deep sea or Antarctica to the extremely high temperatures, over 300 degrees of the thermal vents at the bottom of the ocean. The only other planet we've properly examined off of its surface until now is Mars. Mars turns out that a third of its surface was covered in water a few billion years ago, and it had a much thicker atmosphere, meaning that it may as well have harbored life back then. Europa, one of Jupiter's 53 moons, has a crust made of ice, massive oceans under that crust, and an atmosphere made of oxygen. And I personally believe when we do land there, we'll find life on its waters. So if we keep in mind that these are just examples in our own solar system, that the chemicals needed for life are extremely common, that there are over 1 trillion galaxies, each with billions of their own solar systems, I feel that the matter of finding life is not a matter of if we'll find it, but rather when. But here's the catch. Most probably, any alien life we will find out there will be extremely underdeveloped, less evolved than we are. Why? Because you gotta keep in mind that life has existed here on Earth for over 4 billion years. But when did the first modern humans pop up? Only 50,000 years ago. That's a long stretch of time with non-advanced life forms. So, the most probable event when we do land somewhere, the life we find will be in the form of unicellular organisms. But it is, however, worth mentioning that NASA have attempted to communicate or reach out to possible alien civilizations out there. Remember Voyager 1 that I mentioned earlier? Well, NASA did plan for Voyager 1 to reach interstellar space on the long run, back when they launched it in 1977. And that's why it carries a certain golden record called the Sounds of Earth. This is a 2-hour-long record, and it contains many sorts of sounds that you can hear on Earth's surface. From the sounds of babies crying, pieces of music, to a simple hello, in many different languages. And this was NASA's hope, that at some time in the far future, maybe past our lifetimes, after years and years of Voyager 1 floating through interstellar space, that maybe an alien civilization out there in the cosmos intercepts it, finds the probe, listens to the record, and learns that life exists here on Earth. So this just might be the reason why an alien civilization might visit us at any time. But here's something for you guys to think about. What if any of you is an astronaut, and you're on the first mission to a new planet, and as you reach it, discover alien life there. What do? Antigone? Don't worry, US Army got you covered. With a protocol they made back in 1950 called 7 Steps to Contact. It's a little bit detailed, but the summary is, we'll first monitor from afar, then we'll try to take samples from isolated areas. If all goes well, we try to make our presence known to as many as possible, If they're not too hostile, and if they don't throw rocks at us, we'll try to establish face-to-face contact. But here's another question. What if we're living our lives normally here on Earth, and at any point, and I mean any point in time, could be today, could be tomorrow, could be next year, could be the next century, advanced alien civilization that meets us here, what do you think will happen? Do you think they'll eradicate us? Will they share their knowledge with us? Or will they just leave us alone? How about another possibility? What if there's an alien civilization somewhere out there in the cosmos, and we somehow manage to establish communications with them? Would we try to send a mission as quickly as possible? Would we try to contact them every once in a while? Or would we leave each other alone? Maybe we're the most advanced civilization out there, destined to explore the stars ourselves. Maybe we're not the most advanced, and some highly sentient alien race exists out there in the cosmos and would discover us at any time. Maybe we'll establish communications from afar. Or maybe, just maybe, they're watching us from their spaceships and they're making fun of us. Now, we don't know for sure, but one thing is for sure. The time we find ourselves to be a multi-planetary species is coming closer and closer. And so I want to conclude with a simple message. Get excited about our future in space. It's definitely a big deal. And I can safely say they'll be offering tickets to live on Mars at some point in our lifetime. Maybe even on Europa. But never forget, we're not alone out there. Thank you.